岛和王，你成空不了多久了。你隐藏实力，
现在才发现，晚了。
士兵出世。
我说过，晚了。万金步道图第2世，日夜红光四叶木。
Hello guys, welcome to the Alrasta channel to discuss and explain the exciting storyline of your favorite series, SwallowedStar episode 211. In the previous episode, Luo Fang hit a massive wall trying to break through to the Immortal level. His life core had evolved to become excessively sturdy due to the ridiculously strong gene level of his remote ocean body clone. After thousands of years of dead-end meditation and traveling the universe for inspiration, Luo Fang finally perfected the third technique of the 10,000 stars sermon map, shattering those shackles and officially becoming an immortal. His success triggered a massive energy phenomenon, earning him recognition from the Chaos City Lord as an equal to a Universe Venerable and granting him the right to build a palace on Thunder Island. Once King Bark Mirror found out Luo Fang had broken through, he immediately challenged him to a life and death battle in the real world. So, what happens next? Okay, without further ado, let's jump right into the story. The life and death battle that the entire universe had been waiting for finally erupted in the floating mountain fragments of the ancestral god's secret region. With overflowing confidence, King Bark Mirror decided to broadcast the duel live via the virtual network so every race could witness Luo Feng's demise. Meanwhile, the alien races watching the live stream were eagerly anticipating Luo Feng's demise. Over on the Human Alliance side, King Seven Sword looked visibly on edge, while Master Zhen Yan seemed to have complete faith in his students' abilities. The Chaos City Lord, Sky Wolf Master, and other Universe Masters from various races were also tuning in from their respective locations. In the battle arena, Luo Feng remained calm in the face of King Bark Mirror's provocations. In fact, he saw his opponent's antics as the fastest way for King Bark Mirror to make a fool of himself in public. After hearing how confident Luo Feng sounded, King Bark Mirror immediately unleashed the purple lightning power he was so proud of. Not wanting to be outdone, Luo Feng released a pillar of golden energy formed from his own divine power. This actually caught King Bark Mirror off guard, considering Luo Feng's divine body capacity was supposed to be far below his. King Bark Mirror, who initially underestimated Luo Feng, was suddenly shocked to find that Luo Feng's power was now on par with his own. Luo Feng had been concealing his true strength all along. His status as a freshly minted Immortal warrior was putting an unreasonable amount of pressure on his opponent. Launching the opening attack, Luo Feng immediately brought out his signature weapon, the Star Diagram, summoning a sealed star orb that formed a massive black hole, devouring everything in its vicinity. To avoid being sucked in, King Bark Mirror activated his golden Shako King armor to distance himself from the singularity. Once his armor was fully formed, he unleashed his ultimate technique, thousands of threads forming a net, attempting to neutralize the black hole Luo Feng had created. However, King Bark Mirror's efforts were futile because Luo Feng didn't just make one black hole, he created multiple black holes using the sealed star. Admitting that the treasure was indeed powerful, King Bark Mirror refused to back down. He unveiled the ultimate technique he had mastered, the Shadow of the Destroying Wolf. A black wolf shadow with reddish outlines moved rapidly toward the target, enveloping King Bark Mirror's body. But just as he got in front of Luo Feng counterattacked by controlling several black holes to slam into his opponent, and simultaneously, boom! A massive explosion occurred. King Bark Mirror was flung far back and tried to initiate a follow-up attack. But for Luo Feng, it was already too late for that. There was no chance for the enemy to counter. Luo Feng immediately unleashed his ultimate attack, a strike radiating rainbow light that formed 7 small black holes at each point. This signaled that Luo Feng was about to release the perfect form of the 10,000 Star Sermon Map's second technique, bright like the sun and stars. The ultimate attack slammed directly into King Bark Mirror's chest, shattering his arm and cracking his divine body. Even though he was wearing true treasure armor, King Bark Mirror was terrified because that single strike had obliterated 6% of his total divine body. He tried to dodge the explosions from the black holes, but it was useless as the manifestation of the giant beast god body came charging in with a massive attack range. King Bark Mirror got absolutely pummeled by just its tail and claws. Even though he had prepared meticulously before the duel, the reality was that those preparations meant nothing before the current Luo Feng. He realized that Luo Feng's combat techniques had surpassed the invincible king level and were incredibly effective at penetrating his strongest defenses. Witnessing the one-sided beatdown, the human race cheered for Luo Feng. The fact remained, King Bark Mirror could no longer compete with Luo Feng. According to King Seven Sword, King Bark Mirror was history, while Master Zhen Yen felt incredibly proud of his disciple. Meanwhile, the alien races who had previously hoped for Luo Feng's death started getting bored and began leaving the broadcast. They found the fight completely uninteresting, as King Bark Mirror was merely receiving a thrashing. On the other hand, Blade River King, Luo Feng, despite using such immense power, showed no signs of running low on divine power, as if he had an infinite energy supply. But then, something strange happened. The live stream connection was suddenly cut, leaving the audience unable to see the final result. Even so, they knew who the winner would be in the end. The battle continued with Luo Feng giving the enemy absolutely no opening to counterattack. King Bark Mirror was relentlessly shredded in space by the beast god's shadow. He couldn't even flinch as his body was tossed around until his bones cracked. With a final strike from the beast god's tail, King Bark Mirror was finally torn in two. Nevertheless, his body managed to regenerate. At this point, King Bark Mirror realized his opponent was also carrying an unusual clone. This clone body had a massive reserve of divine power. Realizing he couldn't defeat Luo Feng, King Bark Mirror tried to flee. However, that wasn't an option either. Before he could get far, he would be intercepted by the black holes Luo Feng released from a distance. Gradually, King Bark Mirror's divine body was whittled down, with every hit from Luo Feng reducing it by another 6%. The barrage of attacks continued, bringing his divine body down to 51%, then 45%, and then 39%. In the end, unable to escape and with no other choice, King Bark Mirror chose to self-destruct. He figured it was better than being killed and falling into an eternal slumber without putting up a fight. The explosion created by an Immortal level warrior was massive, but it wasn't enough to take down Luo Feng, who had the robust defense of his Shiwu wings. Luo Feng emerged as the victor. After the battle ended, a dimensional tear appeared nearby, revealing an extremely powerful entity. Luo Feng recognized the figure as Venerable Feng, a Universe Overlord and high-ranking official of the Northern Territory Alliance, as well as a God General candidate of the Ancestral God Sect. Although slightly weaker than a true God General, he was still a warrior who had reached the Universe Venerable Overlord level. At that moment, Luo Feng immediately stowed away the treasures of the deceased King Bark Mirror. However, Venerable Feng tried to stop Luo Feng from taking all the loot left behind. According to Venerable Feng, those treasures belonged to the Northern Territory Alliance, and Luo Feng wasn't allowed to take them. Unfazed by the threat, Luo Feng firmly claimed that all the valuable items were his spoils of war, and he was ready to defend them even if it meant facing a Universe Venerable. While prepping his Shiwu wings to fly away, Luo Feng said, "If I had been the one to die in that duel, the Northern Territory Alliance wouldn't have returned my treasures to the human race." Luo Feng emphasized that the universe's cruel laws dictate that the victor takes everything. If Venerable Feng wanted the treasure, he'd have to take it by force. This provocation made Venerable Feng furious. While giving chase, Venerable Feng displayed his power by exploding nearby planets and stars. Without warning, he launched a high-level soul attack moving at the speed of light. This invisible attack aimed directly for the life imprint within Luo Feng's divine power, intending to erase his soul permanently in one fell swoop. Even after being hit, Luo Feng's soul was nearly ripped out of his body by the soul technique unleashed by a Venerable Overlord. This soul attack was far beyond King Bark Mirror's capabilities. There was truly nowhere to dodge, forcing Luo Feng to tank it head-on. In that critical situation, Luo Feng mustered all his willpower and strength to activate the Tower Pearl, a legendary soul true treasure embedded in his soul. Instantly, Luo Feng survived the technique and continued his escape. Speeding away from his opponent, Luo Feng laughed mockingly, proving that the Universe Venerable's signature move wasn't strong enough to take him down. Realizing his soul attack had failed, Venerable Feng started to panic, knowing that backup from the human race could arrive at any moment. He then activated his Time Law Domain, a powerful domain to lock Luo Feng's movement in the void. This time domain was of a far higher level than domains based on gold, wood, water, fire, lightning, or light laws. Simultaneously, using the wind annihilation technique, Feng created thousands of small tornadoes that surrounded and shredded Luo Feng's body from all directions with force enough to destroy an ordinary Universe Venerable. Luo Feng tried to dodge the incoming attacks, but one tornado grazed his body slightly. Even though it was just a graze, the attack eroded his divine body by 60%. This proved that the tornado was incredibly powerful and could obliterate Luo Feng if he were hit by multiple at once. However, a miracle happened as Luo Feng's body instantly recovered to 100% condition thanks to the limitless energy supply from the remote ocean clone he was hiding. Despite using the wind annihilation technique, Venerable Feng still couldn't take down Luo Feng, who kept fully restoring his divine power. Venerable Feng realized this must be happening because Luo Feng was carrying an unusual clone. To him, this was actually good news. If he could annihilate Luo Feng here, he could wipe out the clone completely as well. The enemy then unleashed a technique that sent out black wind vortexes like tentacles aimed straight at Luo Feng. This time, Luo Feng felt the threat of death. He realized that the technique Venerable Feng just released must be an ultimate technique he usually reserved for battles between Universe Venerables. If he got caught and dragged into that wind, Luo Feng was certain his body would instantly vanish. Faced with a difficult situation, Luo Feng began to panic. Under the enemy's time law, he couldn't escape even using the ancient boat Galaxy. If this continued, ultimately Luo Feng's treasures would fall into enemy hands, and his Moshe clone wouldn't have the chance to pull Luo Feng's human body back into the world ring. There was only one way he could think of, and it required a hefty sacrifice. Venerable Feng was confident his technique would lead to Luo Feng's death, as it was a move that even a Universe Venerable with strong armor might not survive. Still trapped inside the Time Law Domain, Luo Feng didn't have many options for escape, so he was forced to play his final, unexpected trump card. Suddenly, a giant shadow 5,500 miles tall appeared behind Luo Feng. This figure was none other than the remote ocean clone body. Burning a massive amount of divine power, the giant body lunged directly into the black wind vortex to protect Luo Feng's original body. Just by blocking the attack with the clone's hand, the giant hand was destroyed, though it could regrow. However, thanks to that sacrifice, the enemy's deadly attack was successfully halted. Blocking the attack consumed 9% of the remote ocean clone's divine body, a huge number considering the remote ocean clone had a massive divine power reserve. This strategy proved highly effective because the giant body was able to absorb the impact of an attack that would have killed Luo Feng's human body in an instant. Once freed from the Time Law Domain, Luo Feng's human body flew far away, while the remote ocean clone stayed behind to sacrifice itself. Venerable Feng, feeling annoyed, said, "Even if you have a lot of divine body, that doesn't mean Blade River King can't be defeated." Venerable Feng wanted to prove that in the face of a power gap the size of one's divine body was useless. Unfortunately, he didn't know Luo Feng's true intentions. Luo Feng didn't bring out his clone to fight. Instead, he decided to detonate his ocean body. When the massive explosion engulfed the enemy, Luo Feng felt frustrated because the enemy was too strong. Even though he managed to detonate a body over 9,000 kilometers in size right next to his opponent, it only dealt 20% damage. If he got caught next, Luo Feng would truly die. Venerable Pei Feng, whose body reformed, was absolutely furious and released a pressure even stronger than before. However, that pressure was blocked by someone who arrived to provide backup for Luo Feng. It was Venerable Zhou Feng. He was a 7-star member of the Hongmeng Alliance and also a God General candidate in the Ancestral God sect. Seeing such a powerful figure save him, Luo Feng could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Venerable Pei Feng admitted then that Blade River King was tough. Despite having so much divine body, he blew it up without a second thought. In his eyes, that was a massive sacrifice. Venerable Zhou Feng stated that Venerable Pei Feng was never a match for him to begin with, and especially not now that he was injured by Luo Feng. If Venerable Pei Feng didn't leave immediately, he would definitely die. Moreover, Venerable Zhou Feng had brought other strong fighters from his clan who would arrive shortly. In the end, Venerable Pei Feng chose to leave rather than continue a fight that would only bring him even greater losses. After the battle, we shift to Thunder Island, specifically inside Luo Feng's palace where a drinking party is underway. Following the earlier events, members of the Virtual Universe Company were now respectful toward Luo Feng, who had proven his ability and worthiness to reside there. Shortly after, Master Zhen Yan arrived. The crowd immediately left the room to let Luo Feng be with his teacher. Master Zhen Yan was surprised that Luo Feng brought out a large, fancy jug of wine, and they proceeded to drink under the cherry blossom trees. Master Zhen Yan had been awestruck when Luo Feng fought King Bark Mirror. Now, the Universe Venerables who were previously dissatisfied with Luo Feng's presence on Thunder Island were silenced in shock. One by one, they asked Master Zhen Yan to convey their apologies directly to Luo Feng. Over the last few days, many people had come to Luo Feng's residence on Thunder Island to offer their congratulations. And now, it seemed another guest was arriving. The guest this time was Venerable Gui Yi, Luo Feng Sr. and also a disciple of the Chaos City Lord. He came to congratulate him and immediately joined the drinking session. Besides offering congratulations, Gui Yi also brought news that Luo Feng's request to join the Supreme Council had been fully approved. This achievement was phenomenal because Luo Feng and Master Zhen Yan had now become a rare master-disciple pair to successfully enter the highest ranks of the human race simultaneously. In addition to the status upgrade, Gui Yi also leaked that a major Supreme Council meeting would be held very soon. Although the details of the agenda were still secret, senior venerables like the Nine Flames Universe Country Master hinted that this meeting was crucial and involved matters of life and death for the human race. Rumor had it that such major meetings were rarely held, perhaps only once in thousands or tens of thousands of years. All Gui Yi knew was that this meeting would definitely discuss something extremely important. Although he didn't know for sure what it was, Gui Yi had a hunch. So, what is it? To find out, please wait for the next episode. Okay, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me. Bye.